Are you listening to me? I need to tell you something. You're not bulletproof. Does it sound fun to try to count on yourself when you physically can't? Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to put yourself in a position where the only person that you can count on is yourself, and if you physically can't do it, there's nothing. You could be screwed. You could lose everything. It can all get taken away like that. I'm kind of living proof because of what I've been through over the past week. I'm 28 years old. I never, ever thought anything was ever going to happen to me. You know, I mean, who does think something's going to happen? And, you know, I'm sure I'm going to be fine and fine and dandy, but if what happened to me in the middle of the season, and I was a solo guy and doing it all on my own just to, I don't have to worry about employees. You know, I want to build a team of employees around me that can pick me up when I'm down. I want to build a team of employees around me that can carry on and can pick up the pieces no matter whether or not I'm there at the certain time. You know, these things, I always thought, and I knew I wasn't bulletproof, but you know, you can't just will stuff away. There's times where life's going to do something to you, throw you a curveball, and it's going to physically put you down to your knees and keep you there. And then the question then is just how long is it going to keep you there? How long is this going to be a problem? You know, that's when I talk about this team thing, having it around you, having it be able to carry you. Why would you want to have all that stress? You know that, to know that one big problem could ruin your family's life, because if you aren't out there making money, no one's out there making money. You know, everybody talks about employee stress, and I just don't think that employee stress is nothing compared to knowing that if I can't go to work for a month or a year, that my family's still going to be fed. You know, I'm making this video not to say people are wrong in doing things the way they want to do it however you want, but just to think, you know, think about these options. Ask yourself what if, you know, try to answer that question for yourself. What would you do if you were faced with that situation? So to give you a little background on what happened with me, I went into the doctor thinking I just had the flu. I went into the ER with massive abdominal pain. I mean, excruciating. And I'm tough. You know, I would like to consider myself as tough as hardened steel. You know, I can deal with any kind of pain. You could cut my finger off and I could keep working. But, you know, I went in there thinking it was just a horrible flu. And then, you know, find out that organs are starting to get attacked by a virus. You know, first it was my liver and some other things that wasn't that big of a deal that it was doing it. It was just affecting their levels. But when it got to my heart, that was a big deal. You know, we have a really good hospital here, and they were talking about sending me to a very renowned hospital in St. Louis because of how bad my situation was. You know, the position this put me in is right now I've got a 24/7 life vest on, which is a defibrillator, and it's going to bring me back if I go down, because what this left me in was my heart in a state of cardiac arrest due to being weak. Now, statistically, it sounds like this normally comes back to good and you're good to go and you can do anything you did. I mean, chances are that's what's going to happen. But so I didn't just stay a week in a hospital. I got home with the directions that I can't do anything. You know, this thing, they specifically said motorcycle or mower, don't get on them. This thing it'll set this thing off and it can shock the shit out of you and do it at the wrong time, you know. So how would I make money if it was the middle of the season? What would happen? I'd lose clients. I'd look unreliable. All for something I couldn't change. All for something that I couldn't make better if I wanted to. And that is that's the whole point of this, is just, I really, really, truly, because, you know, I was laying in the hospital thinking I was gonna die. And I want you guys to know that, you know, it's not about trying to fear people into stuff, but this could happen. Things like this could happen to anybody at any time. It can happen like that, and it can change. And why not position yourself in the best way to be prepared for that? And, you know, I'm hoping that a lot of people hear this and they think about it, and then maybe, you know, it gets them thinking. Build my business where I got a team around me. Build my business where that team around me can function, you know, maybe not 100% without me, but they can still function, make money, and feed my family. And, you know, ideally, my thought is I want to get mine to where even if I die someday, you know, my wife can step in and she can keep making a living and not really have to worry. And that's half my goal in business, is to create something for my wife and kids to make their life easier for them, and to make it where they're taken care of. So this is pretty much the wrap on this video. I wanted to have a little bit of insight on, I really want people to think about stuff, and then I also wanted to kind of fill in what happened to me and where I'm at. I know I did a quick video of in the hospital. That was right before they took me down to do a heart cath to make sure all of my arteries were fine in my heart, which they were. You know, like I said, I'm a young guy. I'm super healthy. I eat organic mainly. You know, I do about every healthy thing, and, you know, live off the land, eat fresh eggs because we have chickens and hogs. You know, I live pretty well to a T. You know, don't consume much fast food, don't consume much alcohol. And something like that completely, like I said, holds you down to your knees and won't let you go. And you have no say in it. And you are along for the ride. And you better be prepared for the outcome and what it does to you. And I pray to God that it doesn't ruin you. So everybody, think about it. Think long and hard. Build these things so they can help us and our families and make you secure in your life. Everybody, this is Jacob with Scooters Lawn Care signing off. Have a great week, boys. 'Cause we're gonna be legends.